ยิงปรับมาตรฐานจอเกาะบอลยิงจอเกาะรถถังพร้อมแล้วยิงพลขับถอยบรรจุพลขับเดินหน้าบอลยิงจอเกาะรถถังยิงถอยพลขับถอย
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on over to another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. As always, I'm your host, Matt Tardio. Today, it looks like, believe it or not, Thailand has declared an invasion by the Cambodian forces. They actually just released a statement a little bit ago, and here's what it says. According to the proclamation of the Reformation of the Monarchy of Democracy, he was a bidder dated September 2009 to apply martial law to the Kingdom of Thailand, which was followed by the abolition of the martial law by the King of Thailand. In some territories, the martial law in some territories dated December 2010. It turned out that Cambodia had used its forces and weapons to invade the Kingdom of Thailand along the border. It is necessary to inevitably use military, police, civilians, and Thai citizens in order to protect the country from the threat that came from the outside of the kingdom to preserve its sovereignty. Thai's people, life, property, a need for a better understanding, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, they ended up declaring martial law on the border, all right, because of this. And you have right around 130,000 people so far that have been evacuated over inside of Thailand. And just recently, escalation or tensions have escalated. We've got a massive barrage that just came across the border from Cambodia and over into Thailand. Thailand tanks have been firing over into Cambodia, and it looks like they moved a bunch of tanks down to the border yesterday. Also, we got reports of Thailand special forces that ended up like going down over towards the border. And it just keeps spinning out of control, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to say that. Reports of cross-border activity, lots of firefights along the border, all sorts of stuff. We also have updates for you coming across for the Middle East as well today. Over inside of the Middle East, it looks like Syria's got some more problems. It looks like HTS and or the Bedouins are still vowing to go ride on the Druze, and their Druze are not going to take it lying down. Additionally, we ended up having the Crown Prince of we ended up having Saudi Arabia go and like have some sort of a freaking, how do you want to say this, economy deal or something like that signed with Syria, basically elevating them just a little bit higher up on the platform of the international community. The president's not technically internationally recognized. Nobody really thinks he's a president other than a couple like crazy freaking countries. So there's that. Turkey also ends up having, more of their vehicles that got sent down in there. And then we have U.S. forces that were actually spotted kind of in like the northeastern portion of Syria. And it's kind of making me wonder if we're not working with Turkey and starting to push down in there now. Incog Faraday coming out, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships over inside Israel. In Gaza, humanitarian situation, as I predicted, it was getting out of control. IDF just opened up and said that humanitarian aid drops are now going to resume inside Gaza. They opened up humanitarian aid drops for the international community. So they're more than welcome now to fly over and drop pallets of food to the people inside Gaza. Over inside of Russia, it looks like there's more gas leaks that were taking place. We're going to get into all that crap and more on this morning's episode. I appreciate everybody that's came in so far, gifting out memberships. Incog Faraday coming in, gifting out 5. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a good day. Let's just go get into this freaking news. Here we have video reportedly that is supposedly showing the Taiwanese SF guys, excuse me, not Taiwanese, Thailand SF guys that are moving down towards the border. Yeah, nothing really fancy to show you on that one. When you go into the evacuations, I mean, they've been ongoing and taking place. You guys, I mean, 130,000 people yesterday. When I looked at these numbers yesterday evening here, CST, Central Standard Time, it was right around like 100,000. That number has since been up to right around 130,000 troops that have been, civilians that have been displaced along the border. Additionally, when we start bringing up what else is going on, it looks like Thailand has kind of switched up some of their tactics. You guys had mentioned a long time ago when we saw it coming that drones were going to change warfare. Well, guess what? Drones did show up over inside of Cambodia, being launched by Thailand. Chris coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships, along with N. Gray coming in, gifting out 5 as well. Here is a one-way suicide attack drone on its way to Cambodia, slamming into a target. Near death can tell my brain's fried. He said, just say Thai, man. Just say Thai. You're right. I should probably just say Thai. My freaking brain is like slightly fried from looking at all this crap. Artillery. Here we've got the Thai army launching artillery across the border. Now, I did have a video of a Thai tank that was literally launching like rounds across and into like the mountainside, as we talked about like that terrain yesterday, talking about if Cambodia decides to cross the border, how bad that's going to turn out for them for where it's at. And it showed perfectly like kind of like what the dips and the lows and everything look like for them. But unfortunately, somebody has removed that video. Michael Veter coming out, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you, sir. Let's keep them on rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just keep you guys posted on what's going on. Again, drone footage and stuff. This is Thai troops dropping mortar shells from a quadcopter over on Cambodian munition depots. Here you go. You can see them taking off. Now, this is like rather interesting. I mean, neither of these countries are exceptionally advanced when it goes down to their military, to be perfectly honest with you. And you're going to see that when we get up over into the trenches. But the fact that they have invested in these choppers and that they're over there using them. I got a video coming up in a minute that shows you like Cambodian troops trying to shoot these dang things out of the sky. So it looks like, you know, like the Thai army is using them pretty extensively right now on the other side of the border. On top, a storm. Did I read that right? No. On top, a stem. Coming in and giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Appreciate that. I mean, it's pretty wild that is actually like extended that far that fast just since the war in Ukraine has launched. The amount of drone technology has gone out there. Obviously, you know, Thailand has, you know, partnered with U.S. troops. You know, we have a strategic defense agreement between the two of our countries. So if they end up getting invaded and they want to call upon that agreement, well, they can. But right now it looks like they're being held back on the border, and I don't see Cambodia going in. And the U.S. and the international community still has the exact same stance, which is you guys need to reach some sort of a peaceful diplomatic resolution. Meanwhile, rounds just continue to fly. Now, here's what I like about this video. You can clearly see the guy that's controlling those guns that is talking on the radio, i.e. he's got fire missions that are coming in, and this substantiates, you know, everything that we've been hearing about Cambodian troops coming over towards the border. And so he's literally talking to his forward observers right there, who's spotting these rounds. He's calling in for fire and freaking adjustments, which is wild. Chris coming in with 10, he says, pants check. You know, if I don't, somebody will. Okay, Chris, well, I am wearing pants today, sir. Look at that. I got pants on, so don't you worry about it. I got my pants on today. Don't you worry, sir. I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing my pants. Always wearing my pants. Appreciate it. This is a video. It's really interesting. It's of a Thai army sniper, and he is clearly shooting across the border over at Cambodian positions. And he's using a Israeli weapon system, Galil sniper rifle, which is actually pretty cool.
ยัดเข้าไปยัดเข้าไปยัดเข้าไปบัสตรวจการให้แล้ว
Now, Elvin came in and asked, and he's been a member of 20 months, didn't the international court say twice in the 1960s and 2010s that the areas do, in fact, belong to Cambodia? Yes, they did. ICJ did go and rule on that from what I read. So the area that's being fought over, for those of you guys that don't know, that need to get it caught up to par, is this little like temple region that both sides really love. All right. They both have like religious / ethnical ties in their beliefs like to that particular temple, and they both think it belongs to them. But as just so eloquently stated by Elvin, it had been ruled on by the international courts that it does in fact belong to Cambodia. This whole thing kicked off just a couple days ago with Cambodia and Thailand exchanging rounds, and they believe, all right, and what they're saying is that they both opened fire on each other first. The first reported death that I was able to find ends up coming from like Cambodia's side, and so Cambodia is claiming it. Now the thing about this video, and I want you guys, I'm going to turn it back on real quick and listen. It doesn't even matter what point. I want you to hear the volume of fire. This is clearly on the border region, and I want you to hear the volume of fire that's being traded back and forth. Pay attention to it in the background.
บัสหมุนอัดไปบ้านหลังขาวหินขาวนัดหนึ่งบัสอัดเข้าไปบัสยัดเข้าไปยัดเข้าไปยัดเข้าไปบัสตรวจการให้แล้ว
So that video within itself is one of a couple that I actually have of firefights that are taking place over on the front line. Those firefights that you end up hearing on the front line, they're pretty freaking extensive. On top of that, we end up having reports. No, why is that? No, that's not what I wanted. Where'd it go? We have like lots of other reports that are coming in as well. Like I said, the massive barrage that's being launched. This video within itself shows that you have the Cambodian forces are firing MLRS systems in extreme close proximity to civilians, meaning that, if, the Thai forces end up firing back, you're going to end up getting a bunch of civilians killed. Now, I see near death, I believe that is, says sounds like 2022 outside of Kyiv. Here's the thing is they have trench lines that are built along the border from the videos that we were showing yesterday. If you want, I can go back and I can find them. And what we ended up discovering from those videos, it was very apparent and very clear, in my opinion, that all of those new trench lines and all of those like positions were brand new. We had brand new sandbags. We had brand new trench systems that were dug, and they weren't that deep either. Like you could tell that it was pretty much hastily thrown in. So it would seem like Cambodia launched this attack with the intent of having to defend them borders, meaning that they planned some sort of a large scale attack. Your mom says, gee, dang it. People, can't we all just get along? I mean, just create a boxing ring on the border, and each year the best fighters go in and the winner has the temple that year. That's actually a pretty good idea, but I don't think they're going to do it. I mean, it would be kind of cool to see it designated as like an international zone or something like that, for just so they stop doing this. I mean, it's stupid to me to have them sit there and claim, which side's going to own it. Just turn it into like a peace zone, right? Where everybody can go. Have both sides militaries in there. Something like that would make a very logical understanding. This is reportedly a Cambodian piece of artillery that ended up getting destroyed by an airstrike. Yeah, what I see the question. Somebody's asking like what started this, and it's literally a tiny temple that's over on the border, and it happens to fall on the internationally recognized side of the Cambodian border. Thailand believes that it belongs to them. Cambodia says it's theirs, and they've been fighting over this dang thing for years. I mean, like years and decades, right? Like to where there's constant clashes going back and forth, but Now it seems like it has like escalated quite a bit. I mean, and I've got the figures for you right here. As a matter of fact, let me get these figures up for you guys. Let me read these off because it's actually pretty extensive. Let's see. Thailand, you have 15 dead, 14 civilians, and 1 soldiers with 46 wounded so far. Cambodia is only claiming at least 1 civilian dead and 5 wounded. So they're saying only 16 deaths. But you have over 130,000 that have been evacuated on the Cambodian side of or on the Thailand side of the border. In Cambodia, about 1,500 families or 7,500 people. I mean, it's getting extensive. And again, I don't think Cambodia is being very honest with their numbers, just judging by the different videos and stuff we've seen of the destruction over there. And I think, again, some of these numbers are still trailing behind, and they're likely to get higher as the day climbs and we start getting like more accurate assessments of what's going on up over there on the front line. But right now, it looks like both Thailand and Cambodia are being pretty damn good about keeping all these videos down. Here's the Cambodian forces trying to shoot down one of those drones.
Bánh trâu ơi bà bồn. Vừa lại việc chia lên tao nó mặc lại nè. Việc chia lên tao múc lên tao cày lên tao. Không quan gì. Ta ọc cho lấy on lẹ. Đi trốn. Trốn đi bà bồn, trốn. Đó là mùi than về.
Like, I'm not saying that's embarrassing, but like, I don't know how far away that drone is, man, but they are just cranking rounds off at that sucker trying to shoot it down. They can't get it. This goes on for like 2 minutes. Like, I don't even know if they ever actually got the dang thing, to be perfectly honest with you. They were just cranking off rounds of that thing forever. And up over along the border again, and I saw a similar video to this one that I'm about to play, coming out of the Thai side of the border, where they just have rows of tanks that are stacked up. Tom Bone says, I've noticed how the countries who are starting conflicts are all allied to China. Makes me wonder if there isn't something bigger at play. Yeah, Tom. And again, this is kind of where I go back. And I brought this up the other day. I do believe that China, Russia are behind a lot of these different conflicts and stuff that are sparking off. And I could be completely and totally wrong. But when you figure that we have the defense agreement with Thailand, and if they do get into a full-scale war, Thailand's got F-16s. They're going to need bombs for those F-16s. U.S. is probably going to give them bombs for those F-16s if this thing escalates. And again, more munitions that get soaked up around the world are less things that go towards Ukraine. I really do think that there is some bigger players in the mix here than just Thailand and Cambodia. That's why I'm watching it so dang close, because if what I'm saying is true, and we haven't even got to Iran because they were supposed to go into their, how do you want to say this, nuclear negotiations today. But, if that's true, and it looks like Iran is going to be backing out yet again, it would seem like that's exactly what's taking place, right? Like all of these wars are being sparked off immediately after we announce that we're going to have like this massive support for Ukraine. We're going to end up giving them more stuff and all of that. So I just... Personally, I think, Tom, you're probably right. Matt Borders says, wait, where am I going to get my lady boys at? I don't know. I have no idea. I have a feeling there'll be less lady boys and more ladies over there, though. Just if this war really sparks off, like bodies will probably be stacked. Now, like I said, like this video with like itself, I saw a very similar one, and I might have it in the stack. I forget if I forgot to put it in there or not, but the Thai army is doing the exact same thing on their side of the border, where they are just kind of like bunkered up like that with tanks. Interesting part about that is that they actually have like a construction over the top of it. Also looks like it could be a false video, possibly at a range, but I highly doubt they're shooting tanks off that. It looks like the overhead cover was designed in order to get them. Here is more rocket launches. that ended up getting launched by Cambodia. Now, at least this one is not near a civilian structure, right, with a bunch of kids standing around as they're doing that crap, waiting for airstrikes and stuff to come back in. It's out on an open road in the middle of nowhere. Clearly, this is a military vehicle. You can see the radios and the baseball cap that's kind of set up there, or the patrol cap, or cover, or whatever you knuckleheads want to call it these days. I really don't care. Here is some more, and this one ended up saying that it resulted in 20 dead civilians on the Thai side of the border. Yeah, that is just freaking, that's insane. Cambodia has an air force? No, not that I'm aware of. No, I didn't even know that. No, yeah, no. What I'm talking about is F-16s being launched by Thailand and them soaking up all the different munitions. Here we go. Here is some Cambodian troops that are just rocking it over on the front line. Now, again, one thing that I do want to point out while this video is playing is the same thing that I was talking about earlier, which is that trench line, that trench system that looks like it was hastily constructed with all of these troops. And you can tell even in like every single video I see coming from the front lines in Cambodia, it's all like brand new sandbagged in positions. You guys take a look at that. All right, you got fresh dirt dug out. You can even see the color change, like right up over here, with brand new sandbags and everything. Now, it could be that they hastily threw these positions in, but I doubt it. Seeing how it seems like Cambodia actually ended up increasing the volatility of fire the most yesterday. This is fire that ended up continuing to rain down on Thailand overnight. Sergeant, that would make the TIE Fighters Star Wars reference. TIE Fighters. You know what? Like, Sergeant, thanks to you, every time we end up playing a video of Thai drones that are being launched, going up over Cambodia, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to start referring to those the Thai drones as TIE fighters, because they are just impossible to shoot down, apparently. That's video of one of the first airstrikes that ended up getting launched by Thailand yesterday over on the Cambodian side of the border. That is one of the main things that, after following, Cambodia's rocket barrage yesterday, that ended up kicking this entire thing off and making it absolutely freaking ridiculous. Here we go. Ooh, did I grab the wrong set of videos? I think I did. Maybe not. This is your hospital in Thailand that ended up getting struck by Cambodian artillery.
ตรงไหนคะผมก็จบพังหมดเลยเดินไปตึกเด้อ
Oh, that's a classic comment. Selfie without hearing protection, Dishka shooting, VA not service connected. Bro, nailed it. Absolutely nailed that freaking comment. I was actually talking to somebody the other day about VA service connected disabilities and all of that other crap. We're going to shift your guys' focus off of Cambodia and Thailand, and we're going to go back over to the Middle East, and we're going to talk about the Iranian nuclear talks that are supposed to be taking place today. Big problem with these nuclear talks over the last 2 days. These are your officials that are arriving over in Istanbul for this talk, right? And the problem is that over the last couple of days, the Iranian foreign minister has came out in a news interview and said that the only way that they're going to agree to any sort of peaceful resolution is if the U.S. actually agrees to recognize their sovereignty in enriching uranium for peaceful energy, right? Yeah, the international community is not buying that. And so these talks likely were just an absolute waste of time. And so now we're back to square one. It's the same thing that I told you guys that was going to happen, right? That these talks were going to take place. Tehran's not going to change its position on any of it. And what's even worse is this new article out by Al Jazeera says Iran ready for war with Israel will not halt nuclear program. And that is coming from their president, not just the Iranian foreign minister. Iran's president has said that his country is prepared for any war with Israel, might wage war against it, adding he was not optimistic about the ceasefire between the countries, while confirming Tehran is committed to contributing to continuing its nuclear program for peaceful purposes. That's freaking nuts. Jason Soretti coming in, gifting out 10 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you, sir. And so what we have here is a situation that's brewing. Yesterday, I came on here and I let you guys know that over inside of Tehran, it looked like the night prior that there was some type of like uprising that was taking place and that Iran had ended up declaring martial law. And then we get this article out from Al Jazeera saying that they are not going to be, basically giving up their enrichment, uranium enrichment, which is what this entire thing is over. International community, the IAEA ended up discovering that they had enriched up to, 87% at one point? Alleging up to 87%, but massive stockpiles of 60%, right? Like 900 to 1,000 kilograms, if my memory serves me correctly, which the only thing that they actually need is going to be for, developing nuclear weapons. That's like the only thing you need that high for. I did see that like very, very tiny amounts, like absolute trace amounts could be used in medicine at that level, but that's not 900 kilograms. Jason Soretti says, don't get to catch you live often. Want to pass along a late happy birthday. Oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate that, brother. Actually, it does mean a lot, to be honest. I really like it. Now, on top of all of that crap going out with Iranian's president doing that, I want you guys to take a look at this video that Iranian state TV ended up putting out earlier. This video is about 3 minutes long, to be honest with you. And I don't need to play the music. I don't need to do anything like that. But this is the propaganda currently that Iran is pumping out. And so not only do we have like the negotiations that are taking place, right, but we also have this very, very well produced video that Iran is putting out. I get that it's propaganda and everything else, but this guy is literally reading a manual trying to learn how to swim, and it shows him like on the beach doing that stuff. Now, the crazy part about this, because it shows him flopping around, it's actually kind of creative, to be perfectly honest. Like, you got to give credit where credit's due. It's kind of creative. But the interesting part is here in a little bit. It shows him going to, yeah, you guys can see where it's going. And then at one point in this video, yep, here it is. I want you guys to watch this. At one point in this video, as he's trying to teach himself how to swim, this is what happens. You guys get the idea, right? That is quite literally like Iranian state media that's showing that they are going to attack Israel. That clearly depicts Jews. It clearly depicts them running from a major city, and clearly depicts them jumping into water. I mean, the only logical conclusion is that is a direct threat to Israel, right? And coming on the legs of these alleged peace talks, or these nuclear talks with what the Iranian president has said, I think, again, as I stated before, that if something's not done here in the near future, that war with Iran is basically inevitable, right? That the United States and or Israel is going to end up bombing the crap out of Tehran again. And that's a problem for the international community. And that's also going to be a massive problem across the Middle East, because that means that all of these different, negotiations and peace through strength and all of that crap has really broken down. So I'm trying to remember, I think it was Bones, Tom Bones ended up coming in earlier stating that, he feels like, either, China's behind stuff, Russia's behind stuff. And I go back to what I was saying, which is, I think that since the U.S. ended up announcing that we're giving all of those weapons over to Ukraine, that we're going to end up fully supporting them, that, how do I want to say this, that there is going to be other conflicts that are going to be sparking off, that are going to be soaking up U.S. munitions. So basically any country that's employing U.S. aircraft, those bombs are going to be gone. Any country using U.S. artillery, those are going to try to get soaked up. All this crap, right? Our freaking aerial defense assets, right? Those Patriot missiles, so on and so forth. Imagine how many Patriots are going to get soaked up on this next barrage from Iran if they end up shooting a similar one like they ended up doing last year. It's going to be a buttload of them, and Ukraine is going to suffer like drastically. This next video, I'm going to actually slow this video down to like, I'm going to put it down at like 0.5. Okay. Like I'm going to play this sucker at half speed up on your screen. Come on, play. There we go. Let me get it up. What you're looking at, this is coming at you from northern Syria. All right. This is a U.S. convoy, very clearly U.S. military vehicles that are spotted inside of this. Trump allegedly had pulled these U.S. troops out of Syria not that long ago. There you can see like another map V with like the Crow system, 50 cal mounted on top. I'm out pulling security. Now, this is the interesting part that it gets in, is we end up seeing a fuel tanker that's going in, and followed by not one, but two cranes. And then lastly, a security vehicle coming up over and behind it. Right. And so what are we looking at here? In Matt's opinion, what we're looking at is like the tail end of a logistical convoy. There might have been other vehicles up over in front of it, or they might be playing catch up. And the only reason you're bringing in multiple cranes, you know what I mean, and like that amount of fuel is because you're supporting a lot of operations. Now, I'm not going to go in depth on how long the fuel in that truck's going to last for like an SF unit or anything like that, but it seems to me like that's kind of what's happening. Now, this video allegedly came out of this region right up over here. I'm trying to zoom in on it for you. Ended up having it pinned, and it's right up on the border over by Kobani. Kobani has historically been an issue in the past when it comes to ISIS and several other things, so it is possible if the U.S. military is going up there, because, again, we have reports of Turkish troops that are up in that area as well. Somebody saying FOB construction. Yeah, it is possible that it could be some FOB construction or something of that nature. But it's also possible that, we're just going in to frickin' back up the Turks that are supplying weapons or something, because, again, Turks are supplying military equipment and hardware to Jelani's men, which is jacked up, in my opinion, right? And again, we have issues with the Druze down in the south. This is here, how do I want to say this? Lebanese leader from the Bekaa Valley calling for the extermination of the Druze.
الشيخ الكبير من راسهم وبالنازل من الاكبر قلوسي لاصغر قلوسي مسحوه، المرأة الحبلة طرحوها، الطفل اللي بعده خلقان دعسوه مسحوه، لانه هودي يهود، هودي وقت الاتصالات المباشرة مع اليهود هن انجس من اليهود، يعني معناته هودي مخبيين من زمان، هودي يهود خيبر منهم هاي، انتم ما لكم لبني معروف ولكم بالمعروف كله سوي. يا أيها الشعب السوري العظيم، أطلب منكم النفير، الزحف إلى صدنايا، إلى السويداء، إلى آخر عقر في دارهم، تمسحوهم مسحا.
You guys kind of get the point. They're still pissed off, and they're calling for the extermination of the Druze. yeah, he's pretty angry. He's pretty upset. And I understand that he's over inside Lebanon, but you got to understand that that's where a lot of these people ended up coming from. We were getting reports of these guys pouring across the border from all different locations. Now, allegedly, this is taking place on the outside of Sweden, the video that I'm about to show you from just a couple hours ago, where they are launching mortar strikes against the Druze.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. الله أكبر.
So despite reports of everything that we've heard, it would appear, at least on face value right now, that things are still heating up along, like, you know, the outskirts of Sweden, that some of these Bedouin fighters and everything are still over there trying to take the fight back to the Druze, probably trying to pull them in, probably trying to get some sort of justification to go back in and start freaking attacking them. This to me looks like provocation. Why can I not speak today? Looks like they're trying to provoke the Druze and trying to draw them into another battle. And if that happens, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, like, there's not going to be another ceasefire. It's going to be freaking brutal. I did say that unless the international community stepped in to do something, that this was inevitable and it was bound to happen. These peace talks are not going to get anywhere, to be perfectly honest. We've got numerous reports over the last 2 weeks that basically say that Jolani and his men ended up authorizing the slaughter. I ended up having an entire video I made 18 plus showing you them just murdering these guys over there. And so if they're over there doing this as we speak, which it certainly seems like it is, they're going to provoke the Druze into a freaking fight. The Druze are going to be left with nothing left to do but to defend themselves. And as soon as they go to defend themselves, then all of these freaking foreign fighters are going to start rolling in, and it's going to turn into a massive problem. Other thing that ended up taking place over inside Syria was a major investment conference between the new Syrian government, if you will, and Saudi Arabia. Now, yesterday I ended up going over and talking and seeing U.S. troops now back inside of like northern Syria kind of makes me wonder whether or not all these things are planned. There you can see Jolani standing right there in the middle, right? And, you know, what I went over last night about how MBS ended up randomly being put into power and how that seemed really suspicious to me kind of makes me wonder whether or not, how do I want to say this, whether or not all of this crap is in fact orchestrated. And I do believe it is orchestrated to a particular extent, because part of this, you know, deal that ended up coming out, they did strike numerous deals within like across, like, how do I want to say this, like industrial industry type stuff. And some of that is going to vastly benefit the United States of America. And so if the U.S. is backing people, putting them in place to be puppets, it's kind of like the wrong call. These are the Arab tribal forces yesterday who are claiming their victory as they end up withdrawing from Sweden. All right. This video ended up coming out yesterday, reportedly showing them withdrawing, but declaring victory over the Druze, and that they did all sorts of like amazing things. Problem is that we now have new videos of them attacking today. So they put out this gigantic frickin', like, as you can see here, gigantic frickin' show to blast on social media to make it appear as if they are, you know, leaving them the hell alone. And then today we end up getting videos that are showing quite the opposite. This video in itself is the Druze, and I ended up coming across this yesterday. And there's no point, I mean, in like playing it front to back, but on the back you can clearly see their weapon system, and then on the front, I'm sorry, you guys couldn't see that. On the back you can clearly see their weapon system on the vehicle, and then you scrub forward and they ended up painting like the Israeli flag up over on the front. So Druze still feel like they have strong support from Israel. And as long as the Druze feel that way, they are going to defend themselves to that extent, because Israel did say that they were going to defend the Druze. So it kind of like raises a question on whether or not this thing is going to escalate. And if it does escalate, are we going to see like NATO vehicles being used by fighters such as this guy? All right. And this guy that I'm going to put up on the screen is claiming that they are not going to be allowing food to go over to the Druze. Israel was providing a bunch of humanitarian aid to them. And since they ended up withdrawing and pulling out, it would appear like they're trying to block that humanitarian aid from getting in.
السلام عليكم. اليوم الخميس 24 الشهر. هذه نحن الآن بقرية زيتونة. هذا تل شيحان ورانا، والشباب المعنويات عالية. جيش العشاير شلون المعنويات؟ الله حي.
You guys get the idea? I'm sorry the video is so dang small. I should have downloaded it and remastered it or whatever the hell you want to call it to make it like full screen, but that's what's taking place. All right. They are strategically shutting down that area to make sure that none of that stuff ends up getting through. Now, remember how I told you like the situation in Gaza would be a problem? Earlier today, this video ends up getting put out up over on the front line. And I hope I have, where is it at? Did I not grab it? Oh, come on. Nope, I didn't. Let me open this up for you real quick because Chuck Holton actually was able to go down to the border, and he actually just sent me this video this morning that he ended up putting out. So I would rather play this one, to be perfectly honest with you. Here's Chuck Holton.
We're looking at literally millions of meals that are sitting out here in this parking lot just inside the border fence of Gaza that could be feeding the people inside Gaza, but the United Nations doesn't want to distribute it because that would mean having to work together with the IDF to get the job done. And it makes you wonder if that means the United Nations would rather bash Israel than feed the hungry.
Yeah, very valid point, whether or not the UN's actually going to do their job. IDF also put out this little video right here talking about how like, I guess, basically the situation's going.
The head of the CLA Gaza. We are currently on the Palestinian side of Kerem Shalom crossing. At this very moment, as you can see behind me, there are over 800 trucks of humanitarian aid that have entered Gaza and waiting for collection and distribution by the United Nations and aid organizations to the residents of Gaza. We have operated to increase the numbers of trucks, extended the operating hours of crossings, coordinated new roads for aid collection, and opened additional crossing. And yet, the aid is still waiting to be collected by international aid organizations. I want to emphasize, Israel does not limit the number of trucks entering the Gaza Strip. And it is the collection issue that is preventing continuous delivery of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Despite the clear facts, you can see.
So you guys get the idea, right? Like it's going to be the same type of stuff. Like here we have a bunch of aid that's stacked up and that it's not going anywhere. Well, Israel had approved the resumption of airdrops over into Gaza for the international community. If you guys don't remember these airdrops taking place, they were pretty famous like back during the beginning of the war. Of course, the video doesn't want to play, but they were pretty famous back during the beginning of the war. There was even one of like a US C-130 that was dropping humanitarian aid over inside of Gaza. That everybody was claiming, look, China stepped in and saved the day, and it ended up getting like millions of views. Clearly, it was just like some freaking garbage, right? I mean, that wasn't taking place. And this is actually, so, and I'm going to leave it at that. I think that you're going to end up seeing a lot of humanitarian aid drops that are going into Gaza, trying to curb like the situation. And if that doesn't solve the problem, then there's going to likely be a huge outcry from the international community. Like once these like humanitarian aid drops start making social media, what's going to end up happening is the international community is going to cry out. They're going to claim that Israel isn't taking care of the Palestinian people, even though they have tons of food. I think that's why Israel is trying to get out all of this information about the humanitarian aid being stacked up on the other side of the border and the UN not doing their job, because you're about to see a bunch of information come out in the near future that, you know, Palestinians are starving to death. And like I said, in my opinion, I think it should mean a lot coming in from me. For those of you that have followed this channel for a while, I do believe that, you know, this crisis like is actually turning into humanitarian aid crisis over inside Gaza. Finally, it's actually getting to that point, but only because the UN is refusing to get the humanitarian aid, which is why Israel is stepping up and allowing these airdrops to take place. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I want you guys to watch this video. It's probably one of the most interesting ones that I ended up coming across, and it's coming out of Russia. You guys remember the gas leaks that were taking place over in Iran? Well, apparently gas leaks have now started over inside of Russia as well. Now, this particular gas leak actually got covered from several different angles. I'm going to like bring up another view of the aftermath. This is what they're claiming is a gas leak. Obviously, you were looking at the ground from where that took place, but yeah, this is what Russia is calling a gas leak right now. So not only do we have gas leaks that are going on over inside of Iran, I've showed you guys several of them over the last couple of days, but yeah, here's one that just took place inside Russia. So it's honestly, it's making me wonder whether or not there's like some particular targeted assassinations that are taking place across all these countries to try to curb what we're seeing in the international community right now. Tools and Tactics says, Matt, why haven't you spoke about the Chinese hackers getting into SharePoint, NNSA, telecom, critical infrastructure, and service members? Did speak about the service members portion, but as far as what you're talking about, I did read up on it, and it looked like I believe what you're talking about is over inside of California. I read up on it a couple days ago, and it is an issue, but I don't think it is widespread as the media is making it out to be. If you want, next time I end up going live, I'll talk about that. And then the last thing I have for you guys about Russia is, in my opinion, kind of hilarious and also sad at the very same time. Newsflash. If anybody's watching this and they're like pro-Russian, or, you know, if you're American and you're thinking about going to Russia, don't do it. This gentleman that I'm about to put up on the screen thought it'd be a good idea to relocate his family into Russia. And he was even promised that he wouldn't have to worry about anything. They ended up conscripting him. They promised him that he wouldn't go over the front line. And then we have this video.
Hey Deanna, hey girls, I love you very much. I'm very, very happy to get to send you this video, let you see my face, see I'm doing well, probably see I've lost a few pounds. I miss y'all more than you can imagine, and I can't wait to see you. Hopefully I get a vacation some point, and I get to come home and spend a couple of weeks with you, but man, you're on my mind 24/7, and just know that what I'm doing is important to me and important for our family. And I will do whatever it takes to be safe and to come home to you. And take care of each other. Take care of Mom. She's got a lot on her shoulders. And Deanna, man, I love you. I'm so proud of you. And I know how much you're struggling without me. And I'm so grateful that you're doing this for me so that I can do this for our family. And I miss you so much. I love you. Today's Father's Day. I wish I could be there. But I'll be home for the next one. So y'all take care of each other, and I love you very much. Bye.
Poor bastard. Ends up going over to Russia thinking that his life's going to be good, ends up being conscripted, thrown in the army, and then ends up getting sent to the front line. And he's over there. I have no idea how that video ended up leaking out, or like how dumb you have to be to actually do that. Ron W says, I can't believe our little Maddie is 492 and a half months old. They grow up so fast. Yes, we do, buddy. We really do grow up fast. Yeah, don't go to Russia. Americans, don't do it. If you're in the international community, don't go to Russia. Stop flying there. Stop going to visit. It's not a nice, friendly place. They're going to take your butt and they're going to throw you on the front line. There's people from Africa that were coming out last month talking about being thrown up over on the front line. It's a freaking joke. Don't do it. Don't go. Absolutely not. It's absolutely retarded of any person that thinks it's a good idea to go over there and that bad things are not going to happen to them. I can't believe anybody would seriously consider doing that. I mean, it's just one of the most ridiculous freaking things I think that I've ever heard. Like, why go to freaking Russia? Just don't do it, man. Just don't. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me today for this morning's episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'll see you guys on later on tonight. In the meantime, peace, love, happiness. God bless. I've got an appointment that I've got to make it to with my kiddos. So I will be seeing you guys later.